Hey church family, thank you for joining us for today's Daily Connection video. This is our final video for this week. We'll kick off a whole new series next week. But this week, finishing up our time talking about having confidence in God in the midst of uncertainty. When we don't have all the answers, we can still trust in the Lord. And we have talked about how we have worry and anxiety over different things, over food, over clothing. And we've looked at how a lot of times that's because our focus is on things of this world. And the reason why we said that early on and are continuing to talk about it is really because of these last two verses, specifically the verse 33 that we're going to look at here today, a really common verse that I'm sure you have heard that I want us to kind of walk through a little bit and unpack. So in Matthew chapter 6, verses 33 and 34, it says, "But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be provided for you. Therefore don't worry about tomorrow, because tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own." And so we have talked this week about how oftentimes when we come to difficult circumstances, we try to work those things out for ourselves. And instead of trusting that God is going to provide for us, instead of trusting that God, in God's goodness and trusting in his ability to take care of us, we try to take care of ourselves. And here's what we know. No matter how hard we try, we cannot take care of ourselves. We just are not capable. Sure, we can sustain it for a long time. Many people sustain it for a large majority of their life. But here's the reality. In the end, there is an end, right? We are going to come to an end of ourselves unless the Lord returns. And so when that happens, it is us with the inability to take care of ourselves. Because you and I cannot take care of ourselves. And we were never made to take care of ourselves. We were created to rely on the Lord. Now, that doesn't mean that you're lazy or that you just sit around, and you don't do anything. I mean, you just completely let yourself go and just have nothing to do with taking care of yourself or those around you. But it does mean that you trust the Lord, that you move forward. You take steps every day to be a good steward of every breath and every heartbeat that he gives you, and you trust that God will give you what you need. And that happens when we seek his kingdom first. I've said it all week that we must look to eternal things, not these earthly, temporal, physical things, but instead looking to eternal things, looking to his kingdom first, and all these things will be added unto you. And those things will be given to us as the Lord deems necessary. And here's what I know. If we seek him with our lives, all of our lives, and we pour our lives out as a drink offering to the Lord over and over and over again for the rest of our lives. And one day we will come to an end of ourselves, of this physical world, and then we will stand before the King clothed in righteousness, right? Having all that we could ever need, leaving off into eternity. And our lives, if we have sought him first, are going to grow and be a part of that eternity, be a part of something bigger than ourselves. It'll be fulfilling the very purpose that Christ created us for, that he came to this earth and began, and that he has called us to join him in partnership with until he returns again. And so can I encourage you, don't worry about these earthly temporal things. Don't be flippant, don't be irresponsible, but don't be consumed with these earthly things. No, instead, be consumed with the kingdom of God. Be consumed with the purpose that he has given you, he's given me, and trust him to provide for you. Seek his kingdom, and he will give us all that we need, and one day, all that we could ever need as we live in eternity with him. Our author gives us a couple of questions that we can look at. First one is, in practical ways, what does it mean to seek God's kingdom and his righteousness? Why don't you write down some practical ways that you can seek God's kingdom and his righteousness? And our second question, how has God proven that he will take care of you? I'm sure that just like myself, you have moments where the Lord has given you what you need. He's provided for you, whether that be in a physical way or maybe an emotional way, or obviously if you're a believer, in a spiritual way. Take a moment and take a inventory of the ways that God has proven to you that he can care for you. As you do that, man, and you reflect on the goodness of God and his provision, will you just say thank you to him, that you love him, and allow that to motivate you to go out and be focused on the eternity, be focused on the purpose that he's given us, and taking the good news to the lost world around us. And as you do that, church family, we want you to know that we love you and we're praying for you.